Let's first look at the introduction. The first 8 bars, you're in the key of F, and you see he does something like this. Now at first, that fingering might look weird, but that's what Professor Longhair did. I've seen people do it with 2 hands. You can do that sort of thing. But he used 1 hand. So that means he was thinking about it as octaves. And he was leaving his hand open in the octave position. Now, this is something you're going to see throughout the piece. It's what I call the Professor Longhair hand position. He's playing a triad, F major. In this case, the song's in F. So he's got an F major triad, but you double the 5th with the thumb. So you've got in the key of F, F triad, C is the 5th, you've got an octave 5th. Okay, you've heard that sound. That has become part of the New Orleans sound. So, whenever you see this sort of thing, he's keeping his hand in the same position, sliding the A flat to the A for that triplet. So that way you don't have to move. You keep your hand in that position. If you're classically trained, you're going to see a lot of strange fingerings. Anytime there's a slide, you do that with 1 finger. Okay, then he's back to the octaves. So this is all in the key of F. Imagine you have the F triad. He's basically going... He's using the notes of the triad. Professor Longhair loves triads. So he's going from the C, A, stepping chromatically between those top 2 notes of the triad. And now he's going down. Now he's thinking B flat because it's about to change to B flat. B flat triad is this. So he's going to step up the same pattern, going to the top 2 notes of the triad. Now, it's the same thing, that same Professor Longhair shape. This is in B flat now, because the chord has moved to B flat. So the easiest way is just keep your hand in this position. Okay, and you've got everything there. Your thumb can still cover the F. Okay, now in the 11th bar, you see this. That is a classic Professor Longhair move. Basically, you're rolling these notes. And I've laid out the fingering exactly as he does it. And this is actually the easiest way to get that sound. Put your thumb on D. Your second finger is going to cover the E flat to the E. Get a nice clear. It's not a grace note necessarily. They're all the same length. Up to your third finger on F. F is the target note. This is worthwhile just practicing. It comes back again and again in Professor Longhair style. Get a nice clear articulation there. But you're going to end up playing this as fast as you can. And I've written out the way that he does it in one of his recordings. But really, there's no set rule. You can do this F note as many times as you want. When you're ready to come down. So this fingering is strange. It's not one that I would necessarily use, but he's doing 3, 1, 3, 1. I would probably switch to 5 there. But he's doing 3, 1, 3, 1. Now, in the 14th bar, this is another classic Professor Longhair lick. He actually uses, I think he uses 3 and 5 only. I've changed that here to make it a little more easy, a little easier for people. I think this is probably an easier fingering. 2 is going to cover the A flat to the A. Your C is going to be covered by the 4th finger. D is going to be covered by the 5th finger. This is also worthwhile practicing slowly. You can use it all over the place in any New Orleans kind of song. This is the basic hand motion. You alternate the top note each time. So then you end up doing this as fast as you can too. And then on that last one, put your pinky on C, come down to that Professor Longhair shape, that triad. And the last one I actually use 3 here, 3. That way I don't have to move too much. Okay. Now this is the way that he goes to the 5. We're in bar 16 now. He loves to play the 5 chord like this, but sometimes it's just a single note. He steps down from, the 5 chord is C, so he steps down from C to the flat 7, which is B flat. And that implies that's C7 for the 5 chord. So he's on F. There we got the 5. Now another roll. Now this is kind of the first time you're doing it with the left hand. You can use 3, 2, 2, 1. Remember, anytime there's a black note followed by the adjacent white note, it's usually one finger. That's a more efficient way, and that's the way the guys do it. And that's going to get you that sound that you're looking for. So here I've got 1, 2, 2, 3. Okay. Now you hold, switch to the thumb, then come down that Professor Longhair triad. That's the intro. Okay. Now we're at bar 20, and we're about to start the song. Here, so you're going to see in the sheet music that I've labeled chorus 1, chorus 2, chorus 3, chorus 4, chorus 5. A chorus means the 8-bar form of the song. This song is only 8 bars. It's 2 bars on F, 2 bars on B flat, 1 bar on F, 1 bar on C, 1 bar on F, and then you've got the turnaround on C. So that is the 8-bar form. So one chorus is one time through that form. And that's just the way that we think about this kind of music. Anything that has a form like that, we just think chorus 1, chorus 2. Now, if this bass line that's his bass line he uses on this song. And okay, that being said, sometimes it's inconsistent. A lot of boogie woogie blues and Professor Longhair, New Orleans guys, when we play, we've got a pattern in mind, but a lot of times this becomes unconscious. And so if there's lots of little things that can happen that make this slightly different, it's nothing to worry about. Your hand will start doing those too. If you just keep in mind the bass line that you're aiming to play over time, over the years, it's going to learn that, and then it's going to do other little things you might not even be aware of. So I wrote out this bass line, and this is pretty much what he's doing every bar. Now, if that's too hard right away, you can do a simplified version, kind of a mambo, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4. You can replace it with that. Or even 1, 2 and 3, 4, which is the same thing. You're just adding this octave on the and of 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So either 1, 2 and 3, 4. Either one of those will work totally fine in this. I wrote out the left hand that he uses though. So here we go, bar 20. You're doing that roll again that we saw in the intro. That's only 3 fingers. Remember, 3 fingers to do 4 notes. Thumb, index, middle finger. And in this case, the target note is what is important. The target C, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is what counts in the tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that second C, boom, that has to be on 2, 3, 4. So it's like you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. But he's just ornamenting it. And actually this roll is meant to imitate a drum roll. That's, Jelly Roll Morton talks about that in his Library of Congress recordings. This is a drum roll. That's how piano players imitated the snare drum. So here we go. Now that's important. And 1. That is the classic thing you need to hit. That timing, then we know you're playing Tipitina when you hit and 1, 2. Okay. And 1, 2. So this shape, we're back to the Professor Longhair shape. Keep in mind, you're playing basically a triad. Now, if you've looked at my video on lick number 1 in the boogie woogie videos, you'll see it's this. So the way Professor Longhair plays that, same thing, is puts the thumb on the 5th. And so your top note is doubled. You don't have the root. The root is in the left hand. So that's how you play lick number 1, Professor Longhair style. And that's what he's doing here. So this, you're going to see, we're in bar 21 now. You're going to see this 30-second note triplet. Don't worry about it's not going to sound like a triplet. It's just roll it down. Just take that shape, roll it down. So he did the same thing. Same thing in B flat. Okay, now let's back up to bar 22 because this is another classic Tipitina element. And the way he walks from the F to the B flat, or the 1 chord to the 4 chord. And this is, remember how we talked about in the intro? Here's your B flat triad. So he's thinking go from the 3rd to the 5th. But this is all before you hit the B flat. B flat comes in after you get to the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Okay, now what he's doing in the left hand there, I transcribed it exactly like that is kind of tricky. If that's too tricky, just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just stomp out the quarter notes. Otherwise, it's. If you want to do the slightly easier version, you're still going to get the same effect. Or you could even do the bass line. Either way. The most important thing is the right hand does that. So here we encounter, now I'm in bar 23, 24. Now you're on the B flat, coming back to F. This is that Professor Longhair shape, get used to it. This is B flat, the triad, fifth doubled in the thumb. Here we go, lick number 1. Now we have a 16th note triplet. This is actually a triplet. Okay, this is a cool pattern to learn. You can apply it to any 3-note chord or lick you have. You do middle, top, middle, bottom. So you go. That's all it is. It's like going, except you ornament it. Now you're coming down in F. And do it again in F. Now here we go to the 5 like we saw before. That's the 5, the B flat. Now he doesn't actually play much in C over the 5. He's either going to C from F, or when he's in C, he's playing in F, leading us back to F. So that's what he's doing here. Got the C7. Now I'm doing this lick in F again. Boom, and it led us back to F. Here we come to approaching the turnaround, and these last 2 bars, that is worth studying on its own, because that sort of thing is going to come back again and again each chorus. He does that every time, pretty much. Maybe a slight variation, but you can actually kind of copy and paste these 2 bars into every chorus if you want to at first. That's just classic. So with your left hand, again, if this roll is too weird, just take out the roll. 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 3, 4. 2 and 3, 4. Take out the roll. Still gonna have the same effect. He just puts that little roll in there. So you see in boogie or blues, you usually go, or whatever. These are straight 8th notes, and this is not a boogie style necessarily. So there's a lot of back and forth, right hand, left hand, right? It's called a syncopation, or what we think of as a surprising rhythm. There's a lot of right before the beat or right after the beat, a lot of anticipations leading you into the new change. That's a classic element of this style. So I think study these 2 bars, bar 27, 28, really get the hang of that, because you can use that, as I said, throughout the whole song. Okay, this is pretty much the same as chorus 1. We're in chorus 2 now. And what you're going to see, this is great. This is bar 32. This is one of his classic Tipitina things. It's what I call the bugle call, because he uses this a lot. You know, like in other songs, all it is that triad. Again, that Professor Longhair shape. And you're just going up the notes, coming down. That's all there is to it. So he's doing a little roll. And again, this is that same weird fingering as in the intro. So you go 3, 1, 3, 1. And there, it doesn't really matter what fingers you use. That leads us back to F. So we got, That's important. Land on the A on the downbeat. Here we go to C. Now you know how to recognize it. That's how he goes to C. He steps down from the C to the flat 7 of C. That's how he spells out the C7. Just those two notes. And now he does the same thing. This lick in F leading us back to F. So he never actually plays in C, really. He just plays his left hand, but he never does any licks in C. It's either F going to C or in C playing F to bring us back to F. Let's see. So there we went back to F. And here's that same last two bars I said you should study. Okay, now you could do that the same as the first course, or what he does here is, and you can omit this roll if you want to, just or something. And what he's doing here is he's on C for the turnaround, coming back to, this is what we saw, same notes as the intro. So he's on C, and again, he never plays in C. He's bringing us back to F in using this F triad. Okay. Now, instead of the climb that he does mostly, what he does sometimes is he plays these, he rolls to F. It's just F, it's the same thing, repeated in 2 octaves. So let's see. Let me back up a little bit. Oops. See, even I mix them up. So that's same thing with that target note. 1 or 2, 3, 4. So the second one has to land on 2, 3, 4, and then jump right back down, and 1. By now you recognize this. This is lick number 1 with Professor Longhair triad. Goes to the 5. Okay, so now we're at chorus number 4, bar 45. And this is one of my favorite solos he does in Tipitina. This is from his Atlantic Records recording. This is that same we saw in the intro. We're not alternating the top note, but we do it in octaves. Okay, look at that. Triad. To F7, to that 7. So here, I recommend using 4th finger on the black note, 5th finger on white notes. So in, let's see, 44, 45, bar 45, you're gonna see that little, how do you do that? That, use the same finger. 4th finger is the best. If you have to do it with 5th finger, you know, good luck, but you can try it. 4th finger is the best. You're gonna hit that A with the thumb, A flat with the 4th finger, hold the thumb while you slide up. So then it's a bigger climb to B flat. He adds the C, C sharp, and then does his normal, those notes. All right. So now we're in B flat. Same kind of thing that's been happening. So I put this in here. This is one of his other ways he goes to the 5 in Tipitina. Instead of going, stepping down to the B flat, he goes back to C. Then you've got the top part of the C7 up here. And you can do it to come back too. I think that the way I wrote it out here is I just came down like that, but you can do that. So the same thing, but to come back to F. Okay. Now bar 52 starts the lead into chorus 5, and this is one of my favorite. I mean, this whole song, I love it, but this is one of the incredibly mind-bending rhythmical things that he does that is just awesome. So he likes to, like we said, he comes with his interplay between both hands. This is a perfect example. He does these what I call the octave climbs. Now I wrote on the sheet music, the top note is optional in the left hand. If you're having trouble going and hitting the same, because your thumb's hitting the A, then your right hand's hitting the A, right? If they run into each other, you're not quite there yet. Just do one note. Doesn't change. Doesn't really change the effect. So it starts out with a little. You just kind of flick this Professor Longhair triad, as I'm calling it. Okay. Notice these notes should not be a mystery by now. They're the triad, the second note in the triad, the third, going up chromatically to the 5th. That's what he's been doing throughout the whole song. Now, he throws in that kind of curveball. Instead of going to the 4 like he has been doing, he leads us down to the F, which is the 5th of the 4 chord, the B flat, from the A. He goes, very cool. Now we jump right in. That's just that. Use whatever fingers in the left hand you want. Right hand's going to be octaves. So right there at the end, if you notice, the last 2 bars before that final, so we're talking about bar 59 and 60, that's called a tag. And a tag means you repeat the end of the previous chorus. So really chorus number 5, let's see. Should end like that, but we repeat that to the 5, repeat it. So that's called a tag. We tagged the last 2 bars of chorus 5. I guess they're not technically the last 2 bars. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We tagged bar 5 and 6. And that takes up the 8 bars.